Once, they struck oil. Now, they code futures. This is the evolution of the Saudi billionaire, from black gold to digital power. For decades, Saudi wealth was simple. Oil in the ground, barrels in tankers, cash in sovereign accounts. The billionaires? Mostly royal, mostly silent, and mostly insulated. But everything changed when the world started asking, what happens after oil? Suddenly, Saudi wealth started pouring into tech startups, Hollywood studios, global sports clubs, tourism ecosystems. They weren't just extracting resources anymore. They were designing relevance. And leading that charge, a new class of Saudi billionaires. Some royal, some private, all strategic. They began building parallel legacies, not just palaces and portfolios, but platforms, cities, and software. Nowhere is this shift more visible than in one word. Neom, a $500 billion city carved out of desert. A place where AI runs infrastructure, where cars are banned, and the line stretches 170 kilometers of mirrored ambition. It's not just architecture, it's ideology. To build NEOM, Saudi billionaires aren't just funding concrete. They're funding a robotics research, a renewable energy grids, bioengineering labs, surveillance technology, and with every dollar, they're buying a seat at the future table. But don't confuse this with Western futurism. Saudi billionaires still play by ancient codes, a loyalty to crown, a preservation of tribe, a deference to faith. They innovate within tradition, not against it. This makes their rise unique. They're not rebels. They're state-aligned architects. Their ambition? To make Saudi Arabia a symbol of modern Islam, precision capitalism, and curated vision. From oil rigs to NEOM drones, from gold markets to esports stadiums, the Saudi billionaire is no longer just watching markets. He's redesigning what wealth looks like and where it lives. In the next act, we explore the unshakable foundation beneath all this innovation. In most countries, billionaires rise with market timing. In Saudi Arabia, they rise with proximity to the throne. Because here, power isn't just earned, it's granted. And the checkbook? It comes with a crest. To understand the Saudi billionaire mindset, you must understand the monarchy. The House of Saud is not just symbolic. It's the architect of capital. Almost every major enterprise traces back to a royal endorsement, state contracts, tribal alignment. If you're not inside that circle, you're not building, you're renting power. A billionaire developer in Riyadh. His construction firm won a mega project deal, not because he underbid, but because his uncle sits on the Royal Advisory Board. This is the fusion of a family, a favor, a fortunes. But don't confuse that with laziness. Saudi billionaires are brutally efficient once empowered. They scale aggressively, recruit globally, and build empires within assigned boundaries. And those boundaries are clear and cultural. You don't speak against the crown. You don't cross tribal lines. You don't outshine legacy. You build in sync with sovereignty. This creates a billionaire class unlike any other. A politically bulletproof, a socially sacred, a financially unstoppable, until they breach the code. And the code is this: loyalty first. Always. You show it by funding state-backed reforms, hosting diplomatic events, wearing status quietly. Even your investments are a signal of service. They fund hospitals in sacred cities. They endow universities named after kings. They build cities that reflect the kingdom's 2030 vision, not just their own ambition. Why? Because in Saudi Arabia, the crown is the platform, and billionaires are its execution layer. This system breeds a unique skill: strategic obedience. Saudi billionaires know when to stay quiet and when to move fast. They play chess in a palace, not poker in a boardroom. But this doesn't make them weak. It makes them indispensable. Because when the state dreams big, like building NEOM or transforming Mecca, It needs operators who move with trust and scale with silence. In the next act, we'll step into NEOM itself and the line to explore whether it's pure vision or state-sponsored theater, and how Saudi billionaires use it as both a sandbox and a legacy monument. In the middle of the desert, a mirror rises. It stretches 170 kilometers. No cars, no streets, no limits. This is the line, not just a city, a manifesto, born from the $500 billion megaproject called NEOM. The line is the centerpiece, a vertical smart city where AI governs logistics. Carbon doesn't exist, and distance is redefined. But behind the steel and spectacle, a billionaire chessboard. Because NEOM isn't just a city, it's a sandbox for elite visionaries. A place where the Saudi billionaire mindset is put on display for the world to study and invest in. Meetings in NEOM's core. Attendees include tech billionaires from Riyadh, a royal cousins turned clean energy tycoons, a global venture capitalists brought in under Vision 2030. Each billionaire isn't just funding, they're embedding ideology. One funds drone delivery infrastructure, another controls digital ID integration, another spearheads cultural programming. Together, they create a city of influence, not just innovation. But here's the twist. Is NEOM real or ritual? Some say it's too ambitious. Others say it's inevitable. But for Saudi billionaires, it doesn't matter. Because NEOM is more than a construction site. It's a legacy project, a story, a signal to the world that says, we don't follow the future, we design it. Every billionaire involved plays a role. The eco-magnet, the surveillance architect, the infrastructure lord, the entertainment strategist. They're not building just for function. They're building for eternity. It's a vision laced with contradictions. A hypermodernism governed by tribal codes. A technocratic systems funded by royalty. A utopian language framed within geopolitical assertiveness. But that's the point. NEOM is not supposed to feel possible. It's supposed to feel undeniable. This is how Saudi billionaires weaponize vision. They don't wait for approval. They create momentum so large, the world must respond. And while the West debates feasibility, these billionaires build quietly, with imported talent, unlimited capital, and sovereign backing. It's not about ROI in dollars. It's about ROE, return on eternity. Because when the city opens, the world won't just see steel and mirrors. It'll see an empire reinventing itself, through the hands of billionaires who never needed permission. In the next act, we'll reveal the silent code that protects these builders. Why obedience isn't weakness, but the most strategic investment in the Saudi billionaire playbook. In most nations, billionaires speak to build influence. In Saudi Arabia, they go silent to stay powerful. Obedience here is not submission, it's strategy. Because the Saudi billionaire doesn't operate outside the system. He is the system. And systems, by nature, don't scream. They structure. Let's break it down. The average Saudi billionaire. A never contradicts policy. A never challenges royal narrative. A never outshines the throne. Not because he can't. Because he doesn't need to. Influence comes through alignment, not agitation. The government wants economic transformation. The billionaire invests in tourism and smart cities. The crown promotes AI. He funds robotics labs and scholarships. It's symbiotic capitalism, built on silence, speed, and symbolism. A billionaire oil tycoon shifting his empire toward green energy. He doesn't denounce fossil fuels. He repositions quietly. Why? Because criticism would breach the cultural fabric. But silent reinvention? That earns trust and a seat at every closed-door deal. Obedience is rewarded in layers. Access to sovereign wealth co-investment. A land rights in hypergrowth zones. A protection from foreign acquisition. Placement on advisory boards. And the unwritten rule? Discretion equals durability. Even wealth itself is curated. You won't see Saudi billionaires giving TED Talks or writing memoirs. Instead, they endow universities, fund religious pilgrimages, support royal art initiatives. Every move is a signal of loyalty, wrapped in national pride. This doesn't mean they're voiceless. It means they've learned the art of indirect influence, a reshaping industries without press, a guiding legislation through quiet sponsorship, a partnering globally while appearing purely domestic. Because in Saudi Arabia, the louder you are, the closer you are to the line. And when mistakes are made, they're corrected fast, with grace, funding, and strategic self-removal. No lawsuits, no scandals, just recalibration. This is the obedience mindset. You grow by reflecting the state's ambition, not by fighting it. You thrive by showing up in the right places, not by dominating headlines. And when you do, you become a ghost billionaire, everywhere and nowhere, shaping nations from inside the script. In the next act, we'll explore how these silent kings play on the global stage, with foreign investments, media deals, and cultural diplomacy, all engineered to make Saudi power inescapable but invisible. You won't always see them, but they are there, at the Met Gala, behind Formula One, inside Silicon Valley fundraisers. The Saudi billionaire is not hiding, he's blending, because Saudi influence abroad isn't loud. It's luxuriously invisible, wrapped in yachts, hedge funds, sovereign partnerships, and backed by a state that never invests without a signal. Let's talk about luxury. Saudi billionaires don't flaunt it on Instagram. They own the platforms behind it. They buy a London hotels, a Paris fashion houses, a New York condos, Italian superyacht shipyards. And they use these assets not for lifestyle, but for positioning. A Riyadh mogul doesn't just wear designer. He rescues the brand during a crisis and gains cultural equity. A Saudi VC doesn't just invest in tech. He does it through Delaware firms, co-partnered with US allies. They enter softly and stay sovereign. Then comes loyalty, not just to crown, but to perception. Global PR firms, reputation management units, media narrative sculptors. Because the new Saudi billionaire knows, power isn't just held, it's believed into being. He funds art biennales in Venice, while quietly reshaping museum narratives about the Gulf. He sponsors football leagues, while positioning Saudi Arabia as a modern Islamic bridge. It's all intentional. A mirage? Yes, but a precisely constructed one. Then there's law, the real power play. Saudi billionaires own arbitration firms, global real estate trusts, a philanthropic arms in tax-neutral zones. Their names aren't on the door, but their preferences shape the policy. A Saudi holding company based in London. On paper, independent. In reality, owned by 3 layers of trusts, structured through Bahrain, Luxembourg, and Riyadh. This isn't evasion. It's sovereign insulation. Even when controversy strikes, a journalist, a data breach, a foreign inquiry, the billionaire remains untouched. Why? Because his power isn't personal. It's state-aligned and system-embedded. This is how they operate globally. A discreet presence, a bulletproof legal shells, a cultural seduction, political distance. They aren't asking to be welcomed. They're making themselves necessary. In the final act, we'll decode the 7 unspoken laws that govern this empire of silence, strategy, and scale. The true rules of the Saudi billionaire mindset. They don't rush. They don't boast. They build kingdoms inside kingdoms. These are the Saudi billionaires, masters of obedience, vision, and unseen velocity. Here are the 7 unspoken laws that govern their every move. Law 1. The throne is the launchpad. You don't rise without royal symmetry. The closer you are to power, the smoother your runway. Every billion-dollar deal begins with a nod from the top. Law 2. Loyalty is the best leverage. Deals may come and go, but loyalty buys access to endless opportunity. Whether in oil, tech, or tourism, serve the crown's vision. and you'll be granted unseen acceleration. Law 3. Silence is the smartest sound. They don't tweet provocations. They don't do podcasts. They move in engineered silence. Because power unspoken is power that can't be interrupted. Law 4. Vision must reflect the nation. Neom. The Line. Giga projects. None of this is personal. It's national. A Saudi billionaire's vision must mirror the kingdom's future, not their own vanity. Law 5. Global moves, local roots. They invest in Hollywood, but donate to Mecca. They build AI firms in London, but endow mosques in Jeddah. No matter how global the ambition, the roots must anchor in loyalty. Law 6. Luxury is camouflage. That $200 million yacht? It's a floating negotiation room. That art purchase? A diplomatic icebreaker. That football team? A soft power weapon. Luxury isn't lifestyle. It's leverage in disguise. Law 7. Legacy over liquidity. They don't chase exits. They engineer permanence. Every investment is a monument. Every company, a tribute. Every donation, a shield. Their true ROI? Immortality through nation building. This is the Saudi billionaire mindset. Rooted in tradition, scaled through strategy, protected by silence, and projected through vision. They don't seek attention, because they already control the room where attention is designed. This is the Billionaire Mindset. Episode 6, Saudi Arabia.